Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of a sadder topic, and that is that custom servers are kind of dying off, right? Like, it kind of seems like custom servers are on their way out of dying, and if you stick around, I'm going to explain all my reasons and everything like that, and yeah, I'm not going to waste your time too much, but custom servers were a thing that happened a long time ago. They were Ponytown custom servers. They released the game files and allowed people to make their own custom servers, and a lot of people did. Some people used it for malicious intent, and that was ultimately what made custom servers stop being supported. That's why they eventually removed the game files from the About page and shut everything down, including custom servers that were 100% doing it for malicious intent. Some of these other custom servers that existed just shut down because they ran out of money, or they didn't have enough time to support it, or whatever else. But they have shut down. A lot of them have shut down. If we actually go to my website here, this lists off all the custom servers, and it talks about other things like things that you can do in the game, other places such as aminos and stuff like that that you can go to. There's even tutorials here. But if we scroll down, we can see a list of every custom server: Ashes Town, Luminous Kingdom, Sleepy Town, Mystical Meadows, and Pixel Horse. After custom servers were shut down and they were no longer supported, it was revealed that these custom servers were the only ones that were considered trustworthy enough to have a Patreon deal. And this Patreon deal, I don't know exactly the full extent of the deal, so do not quote me on this, but from my understanding, whatever money something like Luminous Kingdom, Ashes Town, or even Mystical Meadows, whatever money they make from the Patreon, a percentage of it is sent over to the Ponytown team. Now, that's what I understand from it. I don't know the exact percentage. For the sake of this video, we're going to say it's a 70-30 split, where the owner of that custom server gets 70% and Ponytown gets 30% of whatever profits are made. That'll be important later, but let's go back to the website and kind of show you some of these custom servers that have shut down, actually. So once we get past all the ones that are trusted, you'll start to see the ones that have unknown trustworthiness because the developers are not super familiar with them, they're not friends with them, or anything else like that. So we have stuff like Fantasy Town, Rainbow Town, and then everything else has been shut down already. A lot of custom servers have already been shut down, such as Champions of Equestria, My Ponyland, Dirt Town, Bits Town. This one and this one, and I don't know if Grown Town is still around, but if it is, don't trust it. Do not trust them. They are 100% untrustworthy, so we're not going to even talk about them throughout this. But you can see that a lot of custom servers are already shut down, and there's only a few that are still around besides the ones that are trustworthy enough to have a Patreon deal. So if we actually start loading up some of these games like Ashes Town and scrolling down, you can start to see why I think some of these are probably on their way out. We have Ashes Town here, who has a fair amount of people here, almost 300. If you added all this up, it would probably be close to 300. So add all that up, about 300 people. Then you have Luminous Kingdom. If we scroll down and check, there's about 12 people. That's actually way better than what it was earlier today. I've been monitoring this pretty much throughout the day. This is actually the highest it's been all day. This has actually reached double digits, which is impressive to me because a lot of these custom servers barely reach double digits. But if we go on to Sleepy Town, 9 and 5, that's not a whole lot of people. Mystical Meadows, we scroll down, like 4 people, that's not very many. We go down to Pixel Horse. There's no one on there now. There was like 2 or 3 people on there earlier, and I jumped in there because I thought it was weird that there was people there. I wanted to see what was going on. Nothing was going on. But there's no one here at all. And then we go over to Fantasy Town. There's like 27 people there, which is impressive again because it's double digits. And then we have Rainbow Town. Only one person playing Rainbow Town right now. And that pretty much is it. That's pretty much it for all of them. That's their server count. As you can see, a lot of these servers, a lot of these games do not have a very high player count. I think Luminous Kingdom, Ashes Town are kind of up there higher than the rest, and Ashes Town is definitely higher than the rest, but you can see that they're all still kind of relatively low. Even Ashes Town is relatively low. It's the only one that I've ever seen out of all the custom servers reach triple digits. But these low player counts are not good for these custom servers because at the end of the day, Ponytown and even these custom servers are MMORPGs. They're social MMORPGs where you go in, you interact with other players, and have fun with other players. That's kind of what they are. That's what the point of the game is. So when you have a low player base like 5 or 0, it kind of discourages people from joining the game at all. And that's not good. But it's not just the low player counts that are an issue. I mentioned earlier that they all have this Patreon deal where they can have Patreon if they are a trusted custom server only. Let's take a look at them. If we click on these, we can actually get an idea of how much they make because it's actually listed on the Patreon. So these are the only 3 that have them. Let's go to Mystical Meadows first. If we scroll on down from Mystical Meadows, we can see they have 8 patrons and they're making at least $56 this month or the last month or whatever. Now this number can change. It could be $40 next month or $20 next month, or it could be $100 next month. No one knows. It's entirely up to the people to support the game for that to happen. But let's go on to Luminous Kingdom and scroll down on Luminous Kingdom here. They have 11 patrons and they're making $51 a month. Still not very much, but let's go on to Ashes Town and scroll on down from Ashes Town. They have 208 patrons and they're making $695 a month. Like I said, with all of these, it could be more next month or less next month. Now, for the sake of this math that I'm going to do here, don't worry, I'll do all the math. But for the sake of the math, we're going to use Ashes Town, which is like the best case scenario because they're making the most at roughly 700. We're just going to round that up for making this easier. But take 700, assume they're making that much every month or something like that. Patreon takes 3% of this profit. That means that number goes down. Obviously, Ponytown takes a percentage of that profit. Like I said before, we're gonna assume that they take 30% because I have no idea what the deal is, and I think I remember hearing 30% at some point. Maybe it's 20% or something, but 30% is what we're gonna go with for this. Regardless, it is a pretty fair amount. Ashes Town is kind of left with $490 out of that $700 that they initially made. That's like almost $300 that they just lost. And it kind of gets worse because Patreon is a source of income. These people, these custom servers are taxed on this. So after losing all of that money, through those deals and stuff like that, Ashes Town gets $490, right? But they're still taxed on $700, which means they're taxed on an amount that they technically didn't get. But they're still taxed on that regardless. Now, I'm not smart enough here to tell you what that means and how much they actually get after taxes or whatever like that, especially since that's none of my business. And there's probably all kinds of systems and stuff like that. I don't want to get into that. But the point is, they're getting taxed on $700 when they made $450. That's not a good thing. When you're taxed on more money than you actually made, that means you're really close to losing money, if not losing money. Now, that's the case with Luminous Kingdom and Mystical Meadows as well, I assume anyway, because they have to be taxed on this, I imagine, unless $50 isn't enough to be taxed on or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about taxes. But the point is, calculating all this together, you can see how they're not making a whole lot of money, especially just Mystical Meadows and Luminous Kingdom alone, who are making roughly $50 to $60 a month. Which means it's probably really difficult for places like Mystical Meadows, Luminous Kingdom, to actually afford the monthly fee to keep their server running at all. If you don't know, it actually costs money to keep a server running. Obviously, this isn't money going to Ponytown or anything like that, because these are custom servers. That's why I think you might assume that, but it isn't going to Ponytown, it's going to whoever is hosting their servers. So Ponytown has like 9 servers, so I imagine they're paying a pretty high fee every month compared to some of these other ones that only have like 2 or 3 servers, but they do have to pay a monthly fee for that server. If they don't, then that server gets shut down and no one can access it anymore. You can see how if these custom servers aren't making that much money, it's probably pretty difficult for them to pay that monthly fee. I mean, especially when you look at stuff like Fantasy Town or Rainbow Town or any of these other custom servers that aren't trusted enough to have a Patreon, a lot of this money is probably coming out of their pocket. Money that they earned throughout whatever day job they have. And then you combine that with whatever staff they have. Looking at Rainbow Town, for example, since it's already up here, they have about 7 people working for them. None of them are getting paid. Surely none of them are getting paid. This means a lot of this stuff is volunteer work because they're not making money on these custom servers. Let's take a look at Mystical Meadows and take a look at how many people are working over there. About 6 people. Not a whole lot, but still, none of them are getting paid. They're all volunteering to do this. Let's take a look at Luminous Kingdom. And the Luminous Kingdom has a very, very large staff, as you'll see. It is a lot of people. Like, this is more than the base Ponytown game, which is kind of crazy to me. But looking at this, you can see clearly if they're making $50 a month, they're not paying these people, right? So a lot of this money is either coming out of pocket. Like, if any of these people are getting paid, it's coming out of their pocket and from whatever day job they have, and it's being given to them or whatever, right? So you can see what I'm saying here, that they're not making enough money to pay for their staff. They're probably barely making enough money to run their servers, and this is the case with all custom servers, especially the ones that don't have some kind of Patreon deal, like Pixel Horse or Rainbow Town or something. So to recap so far, I've shown you that the custom servers don't have a large player base. They're not making a whole lot of money from Patreon. And overall, it seems like they're gonna die off because of this. I honestly think these are good enough arguments that the servers are dying off, that they're not going to be able to hold out long enough. I mean, how long do you think it's going to be before Rainbow Town decides, hey, this isn't making money, this isn't, I'm barely making enough money to actually even support the game itself, we're not updating it that well, we don't have players. How long is it going to take for someone like Rainbow Town with all of that knowledge to be like, yeah, let's just shut it down. Let's just shut it down. Like, how long is it going to take them to do that? Same thing with Fantasy Town or Pony Shinecraft, or even something like Mystical Meadows or Sleepy Town or Luminous Kingdom. How long is it going to take them to think, man, we don't really have that many players. We're struggling here with finances and stuff. Let's just shut it down. I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? I know that may sound bad and grim, but honestly, I can see that happening within the next few years. A lot of these custom servers being shut down. At the very least, the last few I expect to still exist are stuff like Ashes Town and Luminous Kingdom and Sleepy Town because, well, Sleepy Town is ran by Steuben and he's like one of the main devs over on Ponytown, so that's like a whole thing. Mystical Meadows has barely any players. It's barely updating. Luminous Kingdom, however, does seem to have updates planned and all this other stuff, so they would probably be one of the few that still survive. But even still, I think a lot of these are going to struggle and eventually be shut down because they just can't handle it anymore. Now, this doesn't even mention stuff like Rainbow Town and their terrible Discord server. I don't know what the heck the deal is at all with Rainbow Town because I had to join their server for an issue or whatever, and I couldn't find the dev, and I finally found the dev here, and I realized that the only people that are devs on Rainbow Town that are actually in the Rainbow Town Discord server are the main lead and like one random artist, and then also they don't have roles so you can't find them, and then also it's completely dead here. But let's take a look at Mystical Meadows. They have a somewhat alive Discord server, but oh wait, what's this? They made an announcement recently, well, not recently, but they made an announcement at some point saying that they released a new game on Roblox and that this is their main focus for the coming time. Now, for the coming time could mean anything. This could mean like, oh, this is just what we're focusing on for the next few months or whatever. I mean, a month later, they did update the game, so props to them. But the fact that they don't seem to update that frequently, the fact that they made this announcement when they did, it almost feels like they kind of just shifted focus to something different that they don't have to pay a monthly fee for. So if you combine all this stuff together, it seems like these custom servers are all gonna die. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. I think custom servers are on their way to being dead. So yeah, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think I'm absolutely dumb as fuck to assume this based on the extremely low player counts of these servers, the fact that they're not getting that much funds, and the fact that they don't have very large community interaction? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if I'm dumb as fuck to assume that, and let me know if you have a favorite custom server. Let me know that in the comments below. And as well, if you enjoy one of these custom servers, such as Ashes Town, Luminous Kingdom, or Mystical Meadows, and you are feeling generous, please do consider donating to them because it does help them. Even though it may not seem like it does indeed help them. So yeah, that's going to do it for the video. I do hope that you enjoyed. This was a long one and probably a little bit more of a sad one, but I do hope that you enjoyed nonetheless. And if you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that. Because when you do those wonderful things like that, not only get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become wonderful yourself. And I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.